know, at home when I want something like food, I can just order it off my phone. But at work, when I want something like a key card, I usually have to walk down 2 flights of stairs, talk to 5 different people, and sometimes one is too many. Work life should be way more like real life.
Hello?
Carter, it's Ivan, the hiring manager at Digital Docs. Looks like we're all set for you, Carter. You have any questions?
You can call me Wilson.
Oh, sure, Mr. Wilson.
No, it's Wilson. Wilson Carter.
Oh, wait, it's not Carter Wilson?
No, it's Wilson Carter.
Sorry about that. Was it right on the security badge?
Security badge? I didn't get a security badge.
You didn't fill out the form?
Form?
In the onboarding packet from HR. Should have been emailed to you. You know what? It doesn't matter. There's still time.
But I'm here, outside.
You are, but you don't start until tomorrow.
No, the offer letter says I start today. It's the 8th, right? Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm gonna transfer you to Brooke in HR.
Okay.
Hello, this is Brooke.
Hey, it's Ivan. The new hire, Wilson Carter, is starting today.
No, actually, I have him starting next week.
But he's here now, outside the building.
He is? I guess send him to the 3rd floor.
But he didn't get his badge.
Did he fill out the form? Actually, never mind, this always happened. Just get him a visitor's badge.
Okay, hang on. Wilson, I'm gonna connect you with Brooke.
Wilson, it's Brooke Piper. Sorry about the badge mix-up. I'm gonna transfer you to IT, but I'll meet you on the 3rd floor. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, I had a question about healthcare options.
I know, it can be pretty overwhelming.
It is pretty confusing.
Best thing to do might be to connect you with some of the other employees once you get here. Hang on, I'll connect you with IT.
Hello, who's this?
Wilson Carter, I think Brooke wanted, is this IT?
Yep, how can I help?
I guess I need a security badge
You
and...
need to fill out a form. I'll transfer you to HR.
No, wait. Brooke said you could help me get set up. I need a laptop.
We don't do that until your first day.
Today is my first day.
What's your name?
Wilson Carter.
Carter. Oh, Carter Wilson. Here you are. PC laptop.
PC, no, I need to have a Mac.
We need a week's notice for Max.
Okay. I also had a question about cloud account access.
You need to request access. The instructions are in your onboarding package. I'll transfer you. Nice to meet you, Carter.
Wilson.
Hello?
It's me, Wilson Carter.
Oh, Wilson. Just got off the phone with your team leader, Annika, and she's excited to take you to lunch. You all settled in?
Not really. I guess I need a security badge. There's some confusion about my name and start date. IT needs a week for my laptop. I don't have access to the cloud. Should I just come back next week?
I'm gonna transfer you to Brooke.
Hello, this is Brooke.
Oh!
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Senior Vice President for Employee Workflow Products for ServiceNow, Blake McConnell.
Carter Wilson, Wilson Carter. I don't know whether I should laugh or cry. That's too much, right? A little bit of an exaggeration, but probably not too much. Expectations have changed, and it's time for this to change, right? John Brooklyn talked about it. People have consumer experiences, and they're simple, and they're easy. And then people go to work, and they have employee experiences at work, and they're frankly less awesome. Who notices this? Gen Z, millennials, Gen X, baby boomers? Everyone has seen the precedent. Expectations have changed. Yesterday, John also talked about complexity, overly administrative, manual processes, things that grind an organization. We saw some of that in the skit. These things deliver a negative employee experience, and they impact productivity. So why did we start with onboarding? Well, onboarding is a material moment that matters. There are everyday moments for employees, but onboarding is a material moment that matters. It is the first impression a company has with a new hire. Onboarding, super complex, right? cuts across IT, HR, finance, facilities. And onboarding is about productivity. Think about the impact you can make on a company when that new hire is ready day one. Okay, who cares about solving this problem? Every company tends to have a person, a group of people that care. And they say things like, our employees are our #1 asset. Ever heard that? That person, those people, management. Management cares about employee experience. But they care about it because it's about talent. It's about recruiting and retaining talent. But who's going to do the work? Management's not doing the work. You're doing the work. The good news is you're here in the audience. IT professionals, HR professionals, shared services, global business services, corporate functions. You are the individuals who will do the work. So, sounds like a problem. Sounds like management cares. Why is this not getting fixed? Well, there are challenges and there are solutions. Number one, who's going to do the work? Who's going to align? Who's going to cooperate, collaborate, plan? It is IT and HR that need to align. They need to align to build a plan, to collaborate. And that's because the lion's share of employee service delivery requests are IT and HR. Number two, a lot of these processes were not designed for the employee first. They were designed for the organization receiving the request, fulfilling the request. We need to think about redesigning processes for employee first. We need to focus on design. Lastly, organization silo. And we know silos deliver poor employee experience. Whether the silo is functional, whether it's a mindset, or whether we just need technology like the ServiceNow platform to unify across the different departments. We need to unify to solve this problem. Okay, this is a great keynote because you don't have to listen to me the whole time. Preaching, lecturing. We're gonna hear from professionals, experts at companies who are driving employee experience. What was their case for change? Where are they today? Where are they going next? And what are their lessons learned? Also, you're gonna hear from ServiceNow. What are we delivering today for employee experience, and what is our roadmap for the future? Okay, let's get into it. Number one, align. IT and HR need to work together. Collaborate, communicate, cooperate, plan. But you should be asking yourself, really? That's the biggie? That's the big keynote message? These two groups need to communicate, they need to work together? It's 2019, really? Yeah, really. IT professionals have been IT professionals for a long time. HR professionals have been HR professionals for a long time. When we meet with customers, we know that IT owns the technology strategy of companies. And we know HR owns culture. We're trying to reinforce with these groups that they both own employee experience. They're both responsible for driving employee experience. Okay, I am gonna bring up our first guests. I happen to know these individuals very well. Yes, they are practitioners. Yes, they are driving employee experience, but they've embraced me, a product guy. It's kind of part of their core team. And so I get to see the sausage making of employee experience. Something I would ask you to listen for and think about. I would propose these people are on the same mission. They're on a shared journey. But sometimes it's hard to tell because they talk about it differently, because they're different people. So I'd like to welcome to the stage Pat Waters, ServiceNow's Chief Talent Officer, and arguably the most technology-leaning CTO I've had the opportunity to work with, and Chris Betty, ServiceNow's Chief Information Officer, and arguably the most experience-leaning CIO I've worked with. So let's bring them to the stage. Pat and Chris. Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
Hey, Blake.
Hello. Good to see you. Okay, terrific. We know each other. We work together.
True.
We do.
I'm your MC, your tour guide for Employee Experience Day here.
Thank you.
What I would ask of you is you don't need me to pepper you with questions. So you understand your questions. You have 10 minutes. I'll just let you all rock and roll, and I'm going to go take a break.
Wait. You were supposed to be our tour guide.
The tour goes in the backstage, and then it comes back around the
Are you
front
sure it's not
again.
going by the pool?
If you're going to get drinks, gin and tonic.
Okay,
I'll take a Corona Light.
I
It's been a
will
long
be
day.
back.
Okay, come back.
Okay,
All right.
you
we
all
got
rock
this.
it. You got it.
We
I
got it.
trust you.
Okay.
Okay, I guess it's just us two. IT and HR partnering. So I guess, Blake wants us to answer a series of questions. The first one is, what does employee experience mean? I'm gonna let you go first.
I got this. So for me, employee experience is every micro moment that we have while we work. So it is onboarding, it is courting talent, it is ramping you up, or it's the moments that matter in your career when you get your first promotion, that relocation. It is when you offboard, and we want an amazing experience. And so employee experience is really the culture that you want to create. It's the system and tools that manifest that, and it's the physical and digital environment in which we work. You got it?
Totally agree. And from an IT standpoint, we care about employee experience too. I think so much of employees' experience at work is driven by their interaction with the technology. But, you and I describe it a little bit differently. When Pat and I started working together, she would use words like, let's create beautiful processes and let's create delightful experiences.
Yes.
I don't know what a beautiful process is. So
I know.
I lean in. That was good.
Oh,
I do
I'm
now.
sorry.
What happened to the partnership?
I know. We've grown a lot together.
We have. All right, I'll get you back. But
I know.
as my first inclination, and probably not atypical for most IT leaders, is to think about efficiency, right? How do we drive speed? How do we drive productivity? But the power, I think, is in the combination of these two perspectives. And which is, the next question Blake wanted us to answer, which is, why do IT and HR need to partner together? And I'll take a crack at this. As I talked about, we may describe things differently, but we're really after the same objective. How do we create great employee experiences at work and drive productivity? And I firmly believe that experience and productivity, they're really two sides of the same coin. If you create a great experience, the person's going to be more productive. If you create a more productive experience, then you're up-leveling the overall experience, getting to delightful, maybe.
Getting closer. So when Chris and I met about a little over 18 months ago when I first joined ServiceNow, within a few weeks we got on a whiteboard, remember that? Mm-hmm. We started talking about what is the employee journey that we want to create, co-create at ServiceNow. And that's when we bumped into our language. I would say beautiful, and you'd say productivity, and you'd say cost and cycle time, and I would say delightful, and we'd be like, how do we get there?
Yeah, remember, you drew a big heart over my cost thing.
I did. So where I like to measure smiles, Chris is more pragmatic. And what I found in that process is that, yes, I get to measure the business outcomes, and yes, I get to look at that, but it's not only productivity. So where the natural tension is, and where our full opportunity lies, is that, yes, we need to pursue productivity, and I do want you to smile, but I also want you to realize your potential. Mm-hmm. If we can free up time for employees, they can choose the best use of that time, both personally and professionally. And I think that is a beautiful process.
That is, and that ultimately they're doing work that drives up their engagement. And, you've taught me what happens when people are more engaged, right? They get better work done, and they're driving outcomes that are more meaningful, to the company. So the next is, how did we build a plan? Why don't you start with this one?
All right. So we needed a framework. We needed a line on our language. We needed to see what are those moments that really matter, that are universal to any organization. And we came up with like 5 chevrons. This is the front end of the funnel where you court talent, where you try to bring them into your organization. That's a big moment. When you onboard that candidate, becomes your employee, you only get one first impression. That's a big moment. Mm-hmm. Ramp up to productivity. That is a huge value driver for any organization. If you can increase productivity and engagement in those first 3 to 6 months, you win. Engagement stays longer, retention, all beautiful things. Then you have those grow and transition moments throughout your career, because hopefully you have a long career with your organization and it's a delightful one. And last but not least, it's the offboarding, it's the alumni. It's when you leave that I want you to stay engaged with me as a product, as a service. You might become a customer, you might refer your family and friends to work at our company again. I want you to stay loyal to the brand and the company. Those are the big chevrons that we created in this journey map. And then we mapped out what is it that occurs in those moments? What questions does the employee have? We want to keep the human in the center of that dialogue. So what problems are we trying to solve, and how, which I love, how do we want them to feel in those moments? What does success really look like?
And you know, once we had this journey, we started to plot all these different kinds of moments that matter, and we looked at it really from an employee-in standpoint, saying what are the different moments along this journey, and there was literally hundreds of them. And then it became a matter of really how do we prioritize these? And in the beginning, our efforts were scattershot. And we had to say, okay, we need to get to a better framework here. And that's when we said, you know, there's really 4 kinds of moments that matter from an employee's perspective. And we were intentional about not looking at it from a department up, which is traditionally how I had always done it in my career. We said there's knowledge moments. An employee wants to know something. What's the vacation policy? Something as simple as, you know, what's for lunch? There's action. There's I want to do something. I want to execute a task. I want to get it done quickly and seamlessly and without friction. You know, I want to develop. I want to continue to learn and grow in my career, acquire skills that are going to help me get promoted, get my job done better. And last but certainly not least, moments of care, right? You might be getting married. You might be having a baby. You might be moving. And those moments matter just as much as all those work kind of moments. We want that to be a beautiful experience. You see that, Pat? We want that to be frictionless. And so the employee is more engaged at work. But just like all of you in the audience, we have a CFO.
Yeah, we do.
We do. I don't see him here, so maybe we can get away with some stuff. But
and we need budget.
We need budget, and we have a CEO who asks about value. All this is great, you know, journey and moments that matter, and it kind of feels like you're creating something good here, but what's the value? And maybe, Pat, how do you describe the value of what we've created here at ServiceNow?
What I do is I count smiles, but the CFO didn't like that answer. That's good, Pat, Chris, I love smiles, but really what's the impact on what you're building together? And really we're showing great results. We're showing 86% satisfaction on new hire onboarding. Your first impression's a really good one. Love that, that helps with your talent brand. And we talk about satisfaction in the use cases of service management. We talk about the engagement and productivity. But how much money did we save with those productivity gains, Chris?
If you add it all up across, you know, IT, HR, facilities, finance, legal, and all of these departments do need to come together to deliver a great employee experience. It's $15 million of productivity that we can use to scale our business. That was an okay answer for Mike and John, right?
Smiles.
Yeah, and there's tons of like micro things, like we reduced 20 steps in our onboarding process. Tons of, you know, examples of those moments where great experience for the employee while driving productivity to the departments. 2 sides of the same coin. You think Blake's still drinking or what?
I think he ditched us. I thought he said he was a partner now.
I think we answered all the questions, but you know,
Oh, he's back.
He's back.
He's got a little suntan going.
Oh, it was so relaxing back there.
Oh, wow, Blake, thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Great job. I heard Chris say beautiful, so
yeah,
he's crushing
I'm making
it, right?
progress with them, and I said productivity twice.
Oh, I can't believe it.
I also said gin and tonic.
Sorry. We're on the clock here. We're on the clock.
All right, later, 5 o'clock.
Last question.
Sure.
So Chris, you've been in IT for a while. You and your team, what excites you the most working with the HR team?
I think just that, when we came together, and I alluded to it earlier, and we were joined at the hip, right, in terms of executing this, it became a lot easier to bring in the other departments, finance, legal, facilities, payroll, ad nauseum. And when we're together and we're unified in the approach that we're using, it's an accelerator to get stuff done.
Super. And Pat, for you, your team, the HR team, what do they get out of working this close with IT?
I think for me and my team, we get smarter. right? So the conversation is richer, we have a great debate, you have a natural tension, and then you work through it and get to the same common goal. That is a beautiful thing, Blake. And so welcome to our partnership. It's now going to be 3 of us.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for the partnership.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pat.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. That was terrific. Let's talk a little bit about what you heard. Number one, they're on the same journey. Clearly different people, clearly using different words. They grew up in different parts of the organization. Number two, Chris talks about experience and productivity, right? It's the real flywheel of what's happening here. Experience and productivity, experience and productivity. They talked about employees. Employees are on a journey. Along that journey, they have moments that matter. And also they talked about measurement, right? Measurement's important. What are the results? So Chris and Pat, clearly a great example of HR and IT working together. But frankly, not everybody cares. You know who doesn't really care? The individual employee. Yes, Chris and Pat are nice people, but the individual employee doesn't care about the sausage making of IT and HR working together. They want to be abstracted from that. And so in the product organization, we think a lot about the employee persona. How do we obsess about the employee persona? And a lot of that means abstracting that persona from the complexity of the corporate functions, the complexity of the back office. And so I would like to bring to the stage one of our product managers who really obsesses about the employee persona. Please welcome to the stage Lucinda Foss from our Employee Workflow Products team. Come on up, Lucinda.
Hi, everybody. So excited to be here. So as Blake mentioned, I'm a product manager in the Employee Workflows organization. And I've been with ServiceNow for about 3.5 years. And during that time, I've really been hyper-focused on coming up with features and functionality that allows you to deliver great experiences to your employees. So we're going to take a look at some of that. We are going to look at the Employee Service Center. Employee Service Center is the unified portal where employees can go to look at knowledge and catalog across IT and HR. Or in the words of Pat and Chris, it's where they go for those I want to know or those I want to do moments. But it's also where the organization can push content out to our employees. Those moments where you might want them to know or you might want them to do something. So let's take a look.
Awesome.
All right. So we are logged into the Employee Service Center as Elena. And Elena is a full-time employee in our Santa Clara office. And if we scroll down the page, you're going to see that HR really wants all of our full-time employees to know about the Refer a Friend program. IT would like all of our full-time or Santa Clara employees to know about the services at the Tech Lounge. So we're giving the ability for the organization to tailor the content to each individual employee. Similarly, you can see that we're going through a migration to Zoom. And I don't know if anybody out there has done this. It's a lot of work. And so we're targeting content to all of those employees that have to do some work for this. So in this case, we really want Elena to come and take a training class, and we're gonna measure who does this work. So now that she's taken this class, we'll fast forward a couple days and we can see, oh, she's completed her training. She's ready to go. So what we've done there is we've used our targeted content automation, also known as campaigns engine, to not only define who we want to see this content, but also when we don't want them to see the content anymore. So when you think about organizations heavily relying on email, what we heard from employees was they felt like they were being spammed because you asked me to do something and you asked me to do something and you asked me to do something and I did it and you still asked me to do it. With targeted content automation, we can actually tell you when to stop spamming your employees. All right, so we're gonna look at the same Employee Service Center again. This time, we wanna look at it from Thomas's perspective. He's a new hire at ServiceNow. He hasn't started yet, so let's take a look at his Employee Service Center. You can see that Thomas has not seen any information about the Zoom migration. Instead, he gets this wonderful welcome message from our Chief Operating Officer Chief Executive Officer John Donahoe, welcoming him to the organization. And if you scroll down, again, he doesn't see anything about the Refer a Friend program or Tech Lounge, because that information isn't relevant to him because he hasn't started yet. Instead, he gets some great information about his team, and he can start interacting with other employees through the employee forums functionality. So you can see that we're showing him there's a new hire forum where he can start talking to other employees as well. But Thomas is a new hire, and he's got some tasks. So let's take a look at those. Now, he's pretty excited because with this new job, he's actually relocating to San Francisco, and he gets to choose a brand new cell phone. So he's going to jump into this task. The problem is he's not exactly sure which carrier to select because he's not from the area. So we're going to take a look and see how he might find some help. So he's going to go up to our unified search. He's going to type in some information, and he's going to see a variety of results from our knowledge base, our catalog, as well as the employee forums. And this information is not just IT-centric. This is a consolidated list of content from both IT, HR, as well as other groups. In this case, he's going to select on this forums topic, and he sees some great information. Another employee has asked a similar question, and Maria was nice enough to put together this little grid that's going to give Thomas the information he needs to make that selection and continue with his onboarding. So he can say, super helpful, and
spectacular. Employee Service Center, forums, targeted content around campaigns, and search, the ability to search across service catalog, knowledge, forums, IT, HR.
That's right.
So when is this available?
So everything we just demoed is already available today. It came out in our Madrid release, and you guys should start using it.
Available now.
All right.
Thank you, Lucinda.
Thank you.
Okay, so we talked about design. We talked about how processes need to be redesigned from an employee-first mindset. To do this, you also need to think about the employee journey, right? What are the moments? Chris and Pat talked about the moments that matter. And you also need to be thinking about how to meet the employee where they are, right? The changing demographics of the workforce. Some employees are comfortable on mobile devices. Some want to have a browser at a desktop. Some are comfortable with chat. We think about meeting employees where they are. I'd like to set some context for our next set of professionals, practitioners who are going to come up. The thing that really excites me the most about these individuals is the size of the transformation that they're responsible for driving, the HR transformation, the scale and scope of this change. I don't want to take too much of their talk track, so I'll have them come up and they can tell the story. So I'd like to welcome to the stage Erica Peters and Sean McCann from HSBC. Come on up, Erica and Sean. Hello,
Hi, Ian.
great to see you.
Good to
Sean,
see you.
great to see you. Okay, welcome to the stage.
Thank you.
So give our audience some insight into what is HSBC, what are your roles at HSBC?
So hello, I'm Erica. I've been in HSBC for 19 years in the HR business, and I head up the customer experience and advisory services for 235,000 employees. Busy all the time. Most recently, I've worked on a huge transformation, and we'll talk about that. But the focus for me was really about improving the perception of HR service and putting the employee in the center of everything that we do.
So I'm Sean McCann. I'm the CIO for corporate functions. I provide IT services to HR, procurement, parts of finance, cost management, and a bunch of other services. I'm supported by a great team, around 800 IT professionals across the globe. I joined HSBC 3 years ago because I was excited by the vision the group has of simplifying processes and refreshing its technology stack. So let me tell you a little bit about HSBC. The group was founded in 1865, so not a startup. with the purpose of facilitating trade between Asia and Europe. The clue is in the name, Hong Kong Shanghai Banking Corporation. Today, we offer financial services to around 30 million customers who we support with a total workforce of 275,000 based in 66 countries. One of the strategic objectives of our CEO is to increase customer connectivity. For IT, of course, that means improving our digital capabilities as our business partners simplify processes. We want to offer the best digital experience to customers externally and to employees internally. We really see it as removing barriers to productivity. That's a key focus for us.
Terrific. So Erica, you kind of teed up a little bit that you've been on a transformation. So help our audience understand a little bit about what was the case for change.
Yeah, so for us, I mean, if you think about the size and complexity, we had a huge amount of variation in policies, procedures, ways of working, and that was always delivering a very inconsistent customer experience. If we think about our business, you know, they're rapidly changing through all digital disruption, and we have a real strategy in terms of connecting customers to opportunities. So for the HR function, we had to really think through, we need to do the same thing for our employees. We need to empower our people, simplify our organization, and frankly, free up time for the HR professionals and managers to be able to focus on future skill sets. In 2016, we ran a huge amount of focus groups around what our employees and business managers thought of our service. It wasn't pleasant. But the reality for us was that they wanted simpler, faster HR. They wanted better data to be able to run their teams. They wanted to have personalized service that really mirrored what they have in their everyday life. And line managers said that when things get complicated with an employee, they want to be able to talk quickly to the right individual in HR who can help them. And lastly, it was very clear to us that the HR admin was a productivity blocker. Yep. So they were our key cases for change, yeah.
Got it. And talk a little bit about the complexity and the scope of the change that you went through.
So I really don't like doing this answer without 2 hours and 40 slides, but we're going to try, right? So we had
It's that complex.
We had a PeopleSoft HCM stack that we've been customizing for 18 years. All of our workforce is there, and it tightly coupled processes and data. Complexity is that we were feeding 1,800 systems, either directly or via hops, with the data from that platform. And many of them were using the PeopleSoft data model in their processing logic. So our challenge was to migrate to a new stack, SuccessFactors as HCM, ServiceNow as our portal, and try and do that in a overnight sort of experience. It takes a couple days, but really we needed to not impact operations. And we did it. We partnered very closely with HR. They simplified quite a lot of their processes. We cleaned up a lot of data. We engaged across so many stacks to ensure that downstream functions would not be impacted. And in one day, we turned on a new platform, one day in last August, and everything still worked. Everyone still got paid. I wouldn't want to do it again, but that's a separate issue.
Yeah, that was one hell of a weekend.
So 66 countries in one day, right? It's pretty breathtaking. So Erica, kind of similar question for you from an HR perspective. What was kind of the size and scope of change?
So for us, we had to do a lot of work on standardization and simplification of our processes and procedures. And at the same time, we had to sort of think through, okay, RACI, who does what? You know, what's the roles and responsibilities in HR? Make it much clearer for our people. And we introduced a service catalog for the first time. Alongside that, we then changed our HR operating model. We changed the roles, the tools, the processes, and the procedures. And we started to think about how do we actually then get our business partners to really focus on business activity. And we put in a new advisory layer to sort of support with those cross-service challenges that people find. So all of this was happening, but we had to make sure that we really didn't lose sight of the fact that our employees had been waiting for this transformation for 2 years. So we had to really make sure at the same time our employees were ready for it and we could support them through the change.
Got it. And so what is in place today? Now that you're on your transformation journey, what's in place today?
So we created a new way to kind of connect to HR services. We've put in an integrated one-stop shop layer, which really kind of makes sure that employees can not only interact with HR, but can communicate with HR through that layer. We have 3 kind of key parts of our ServiceNow product, and the first part is our portal. It's integrated. It's great, actually. It's quite personalized, and we have banners on there and marketing campaigns, and you can also very much easily connect to the HR services. The case management tool is used by all of HR, and it's really allowing our service management teams to sort of think about the service. Where are we? How do we improve that? And lastly, our knowledge management is very personalized. So we take quite a lot of different data to make sure that when searches come back, that the content is really personable. So they're the 3 kind of elements that we've introduced.
Check. And so you've transforming. What are some of the initial results that you're tracking?
Well, I'll tell you one result, which is I support many functions with their IT services, and they all ask me, when are you going to do for us what you did for HR? So that's a good result, right? So we're really getting that positive feedback. And then I guess also if there are HR practitioners in the room or HCM practitioners, you'll know about the employee performance cycle where everyone in your company will wait until the final day to submit their employee self-review, right? So that's always very exciting when you're dealing with 235,000 employees. You have to do it across the globe because people start in Hong Kong where we've got 40,000, 35,000 employees, and we just track it across the globe. We didn't have downtimes. We had up to 190,000 logins. And we had more documents submitted than we've ever had before. So something works, something got better.
I think for us, the key things I would pull out would be that we've actually got over 50% through self-service now, which is a great statistic from where we started. Our voice of customer is now running at 88% of our employees either being satisfied or extremely satisfied with HR services. And we've seen a dramatic decline in email, which is a huge result for us. But of course, we're not stopping there. So as soon as you go live, you're always now acting on all the feedback, and we're using the channels quite a lot to make sure that we're listening to customers all the time. And even in the first 3 months, we actually had, I think, around 7,000 pieces of feedback. And a lot of those were quite positive, and we were quite surprised. Wow. And we shouldn't have been, really, because we did a lot of testing all the way through with our employees along the way. So we shouldn't have been surprised, but it was great that they liked it.
Got it. So you're getting this feedback. So now what's next?
Well, we're not here really just to talk to you, Blake. Obviously, we're here because your platform is evolving, and we need to take advantage of it. So the one thing I would say to everybody, and most people know it, once you move to cloud, you have to start living at cloud pace. Yeah. We have a complex architecture. We have success factors continually evolving. ServiceNow offering lots of new tools. We really, as you said before, we want to meet the employee where they are. So we're looking at virtual agents. We're really focused on getting mobile up and running and really strong, and just evolving with the new technology stack.
And I think on the service side, what we're starting to look at is what Pat was talking about earlier. It's about those moments that matter. It's about how you bring the service together, across services. So lots of work starting on moments that matter to join up and make sure we're really there and can be there for our customers in those key events.
Spectacular. So, first of all, big round of applause. That's awesome. So, the other thing that we talk a lot about is IT and HR coming together. And I feel like you all are kind of the personification of that, right? IT and HR coming together, working together on a plan. And the other thing about employee experience is, yes, it's technology, but it's also people, right? People who are willing to be change agents inside of a company. And you think of a company with the history of HSBC, the scale and scope of HSBC, and I feel like you all are really living the leadership of employee experience. So thank you. Erica,
Thanks.
Terrific, thank you. Sean, thank you. Okay, we heard a couple things. HR transformation at scale, right? The stats really are breathtaking. 66 countries in a 24-hour period of time. I mean, that's a nail biter. We also heard about their journey of what's next and meeting the employee where they are. And so when we go back to ServiceNow and we think about life in the product org, while yes, we're trying to abstract complexity from the individual employee, we're also trying to deliver technologies that help meet the employee where they are. And so I would like to bring back to the stage Lucinda Foss from our employee workflow team, who's going to talk about meeting the employee where they are. Come on back, Lucinda.
Hello again.
You're back.
I'm back. I've had the opportunity to work with Erica for the last 2 years as part of the Product Advisory Council, so it's really cool to see and be a part of that journey as they've made this change at HSBC. And I'm excited that they're looking at Virtual Agent. So why don't we take a look at Virtual Agent ourselves? So one of the reasons I'm particularly excited about this demo is we're gonna demo Virtual Agent in Microsoft Teams. And I have a distributed team, so I have product managers in various locations in California as well as Hyderabad, India. So we use Teams day in, day out to really collaborate while we're doing our jobs. But what I'm showing you is also available in Slack and in Workplace by Facebook, as well as in our own Employee Service Center. So let's revisit Elena. Elena, as you remember, is an employee. She's actually a product manager, a lot like me. And so she's working on one of my favorite features, KB blocks, and working on those requirements. And while she's doing this, she's chatting back and forth. Her husband starts texting her. She's newlywed. And he asks her, like, what do you want to have for dinner? And as they're going back and forth, and she's doing her job, and she's texting her husband, he slips into the conversation, by the way, I updated my emergency contact today. And she thinks to herself, oh, was I supposed to do that? How do I do that? But she knows that within Microsoft Teams, we have virtual agent capability. So she's able to switch over to chat, engage with the Now agent, and ask a question. I'd like to add Mark King as my emergency contact, and here's his phone number. So the agent comes back and says, who's this guy, Mark King? And she can choose, oh, this is her spouse. Now, had she actually said, my husband, Mark King, I want to add my husband, Mark King, as an emergency contact, it might not have asked her this question. It might have asked her, hey, well, what's his phone number? And the reason that the bot is able to do this is it's powered with natural language understanding. So it's able to interpret what she's trying to do, ask follow-up questions, and boom, she's done. Super fast.
Okay,
and
NLU.
Get back to her husband.
Everybody's talking about NLU.
Yep.
What is natural language understanding?
Yeah, so there's a really good way to explain what natural language understanding. Let's say I just walked out on stage and I see Blake here and I'm like, hey, Blake, what's up? You say?
Not much. Rocking a Keynote?
Yeah, you are. All right. Well, if I actually asked a computer that did not have natural language understanding, hey, what's up? They would describe the ceiling or maybe the sky above us. So it's the natural language understanding that understands the intent of my question, that I'm not asking about literally what's up, but I'm asking, hey, how are you doing? What are you doing? Etc. So the natural language understanding is what powers the virtual agent to engage with this employee, much like a human would be engaging with this employee.
And so what was this experience like before Virtual Agent?
Yeah, so you can imagine what it might have been like for Mark, Elena's husband. He probably emailed a couple different people, finally found the right one, got a form from HR, filled it out, scanned it, emailed it back.
Form, email.
Yep. So she's able to do this, let him know right away. She's done even before they finish planning dinner, so.
Spectacular.
Yeah.
So virtual agent with natural language understanding understands simple, everyday language, understands intent, makes it more conversational.
Right.
When is this available?
So virtual agent is actually available today. The natural language understanding is coming to power this virtual agent with our New York release.
Terrific. Thank you, Lucinda.
Thank you.
Give it up for Lucinda. So let's talk about our third challenge, silos. Whether your organization has functional silos or whether individuals have a siloed mindset, right? Silos deliver poor employee experience. In addition, we need technology. We need the ServiceNow platform to work across multiple departments, to create workflows for in service of the employee, but workflows that cut across multiple departments. So why is this hard? It's hard because when those processes, when those workflows were originally set up, they were done for the recipient. They were done for the fulfiller. They were not done from an employee first. The other thing to think about, different companies are in different levels of complexity when it comes to workflow. So you should ask yourself some questions. How easy or hard is paternity or maternity at my company? How easy or hard is relocation? We're going to relocate a key employee who had a promotion. Is that easy or hard? What if I want to change my name? What if I need a purchase order or I want to ask questions about my pay stub? These things will give you insight into the level of complexity at your organization. And so at ServiceNow, we've been thinking about service delivery for a long time, but now we're pivoting and we're thinking about service delivery that is in service of the employee, right? Service delivery that is in service of the employee. Great. Let's bring up our next set of professionals, of practitioners. I'll give some context and then we'll bring them up. So 12 months ago, individuals from this company were in the audience. They were in the audience at K18. They had a bunch of different projects they were working on, but they began to think, hey, we're hearing a lot about experience. We know we deliver terrific customer experience. But why is our employee experience not as awesome as our customer experience? And they really challenged themselves on how to deliver against this. And 12 months later, they're on the keynote stage at K19. So, spectacular story. I'd like to welcome to the stage Kelly Rosario and Brad Worth from Assurant. Kelly, Brad. Hello.
Hey, great to see you.
Hello, Brad. So I'll let everybody know, we've already had a great relationship interaction already. When I talked to Kelly and Brad 2 days ago, they brought me a bottle of Tennessee whiskey. You might ask why. I grew up in Tennessee. I was born and raised there. Kelly and I went to the same college, and Brad gets to live in Nashville. So some good Tennessee folk, and of course, they're gonna be super smart. So let's talk about Assurant. Kelly, Brad, tell us a little bit about your roles at Assurant.
Great. Let me start by telling you a little about us first. So Assurant is the global leader helping people unlock the potential of their technology. For the past 20 years, Assurant has helped people worldwide protect, connect, and enjoy their latest tech to help make life easier. Today, as the industry-defining leader in tech care, we ensure that 300 million consumers' devices stay up and running smoothly in this fast-moving, tech-driven world. My role includes running the global technology operations team and service management, portfolio management, database engineering, and the enterprise application development and support. How about you, Kelly?
Check.
Great, thanks, Brad. So my role on the HR Program Solutions team focuses on delivery and launch of cross-functional initiatives, and my current role focuses on serving as the Assurant HR Onboarding Program owner. My experience in HR spans a variety of industries, including technology, banking, and of course, being from Nashville, the music industry. While at Assurant, I've served in several HR roles, including leading teams of HR business partners for our operations functions.
Terrific. And Brad, you want to talk a little bit about the mission of Assurant?
Sure. We're a technology company, but we're also an amazing group of people. When you call us, you're going to talk to an expert that has the empathy and experience to be genuinely helpful. We know what it's like to drop your phone in the pool, or when you can't get that important email delivered to your boss. Or maybe you just want to get your TV to connect to the internet so that you can stream your favorite show. We replace, we fix, we consult, we find. There's one system, we actually are with you every step of the way with your tech. We keep you in the game. There's only one system like ours in the world, and it took 2 decades for us of innovating and empathizing to create it. And our mission is to deliver a customer experience that is remarkably human, delightfully simple, and actually helpful. So here's our case for change. We wanted that same experience for our employees, and we realized that we could do it better than we had been. So it inspired our HR and IT teams to partner together. And I think I haven't seen an HR and IT team partner as compassionately as did we to create a better employee experience for one of those material moments that matter, onboarding.
Okay, onboarding. So help our audience understand what was not working with onboarding.
Great. So welcoming employees to our company in a way that connects with the commitments to our customers is paramount. We want to make it easy to come on board and to truly connect with our Assurant community. And we knew we weren't delivering on that for our new hires. We knew that. Our new hire satisfaction scores were lower than we wanted to see. We knew that there were communication gaps in our process. And we also heard there was just a lot of clunkiness in the experience for our new hires. At the same time, we knew the experience wasn't great for our hiring managers. There was a crisis of confidence happening, quite frankly, where instead of feeling set up for success for that new hire, they were constantly questioning, okay, have I gotten everything done? Is onboarding done? When is the ball going to drop, kind of thing? And they really didn't have that clear snapshot to know that everything was done.
Yep. So onboarding issues not only for the new hire, but also for the managers. So how'd you do it?
So as I mentioned, IT and HR partnered together. We chose ServiceNow's enterprise onboarding and transitions because of the ease of digital workflow and UI. Workday is our system of record for HR, and it kicks off onboarding. And it then triggers ServiceNow to deliver an end-to-end onboarding experience across departments.
That's right, and this time last year, we did have a contingent of folks from HR and IT at Knowledge 18. Here, we were able to participate in the onboarding presentations, in the workshops, really get some hands-on learning that we were able to take back with us. And we partnered that with our extensive user feedback from our employees and our hiring managers to really develop and execute and launch a more user-friendly and consumer-grade onboarding experience of which today we're very proud.
I agree. And we actually went live a little over 2 months after starting our implementation. Now, to be fair, we have a dedicated team of 13 people that are doing development and support on the platform. We'd had experience with ITSM implementation, and we've automated a lot of processes on the platform. We educated our team at Knowledge 18 to help when we launched the following month.
Yep. So you're live on onboarding. What have been kind of the benefits, the business results so far?
Oh, so that's my favorite topic. Business impact from the onboarding implementation. So today, our ServiceNow onboarding platform handles anywhere from 300 to 400 onboarding tasks per week seamlessly, flawlessly. It's fantastic. We've seen quite a bit of business impact, but today I'm going to really focus in on 3 things. And so the first is that it made it easy. So finally, our employees had this one-stop shop, to go to so they could complete all of their onboarding actions. They could get content that was relative and relevant to them. And if they got stuck along the way, they could get help right there in the platform. Truly fantastic. It helped increase and elevate our new hire employee satisfaction scores. And in fact, after going just right out of the box, with the platform, and since then, we've consistently hovered at or above 86% satisfaction with the platform. So fantastic results. We also are able now to know how we can do even better. So the second area of key impact for us has been around continuous improvement. So now we have analytics at our fingertips, and we have insight into what's working well, what's not working well. And now we're able to consistently iterate and improve the product to really meet our promises to our employees.
Yep.
And then the third key area I wanted to talk about today is around new hire readiness. So historically on Mondays, it was kind of frantic, a little bit of a fire drill and whew, what's gonna happen today? And so now our employees come in, it's remarkably human. It is calm, it's welcoming, it's wonderful. And it's delightfully simple in that they now know where to go, what to wear, what to expect. Their laptop's there, the team's ready for them, it's fantastic. And so, we're able to also, at the same time, because of those distractions now being minimized, have our IT, HR, and employee solutions teams kind of repurpose some of their valuable time into more meaningful things.
Spectacular, great statistics. So what we heard from Brad and Kelly, making it easy for employees, whether they're the new hire or the manager, continuous improvement, how to continue to modify the onboarding process based on feedback, and then new hire readiness, how to ensure that new hire is day one ready when day one happens. So I would like to bring to the stage Samantha Barth from our Employee Workflow Products team, and Samantha is going to demonstrate what is onboarding like at Assurant.
Hey.
Thank you. Okay, before you get started, let's set some context, and then Samantha will do her demo. Refresh our memories. 12 months ago, what was the experience for that new hire from day of sign to start date?
Well, that's a great question. So a year ago, our new hires really heard nothing. From the point they were excited, they accept the offer and they walk in, it was this darkness period and created some doubt in some cases, in their minds. And so we wanted to have a way to be able to push content to them even in that pre-hire state where they could watch a video about us, get excited, learn about our benefits plans, because that's very important to folks, as we know. And so the platform helped us to do that. And we wanted to get that right, right off the bat.
Got it. And Brad, what about the hiring managers? What was that experience like 12 months ago?
So the hiring managers told us that they struggled with the manual processes, multiple systems, one to select a computer and a phone, another one to get office space, and yet another one for a parking spot, and on and on. The process was hard to follow and navigate. It relied on tribal knowledge, and we wanted a one-stop solution that delivered onboarding end to end so that managers could get their people what they need for day one.
Got it. So before Samantha walks us through the demo, what's one thing that you feel like as part of the onboarding go live has really made things easy?
Sometimes it's the simplest things that are most impactful. So we provide our hiring managers a checklist, and it helps remind them of things like have lunch planned for your new hire on that first day. Get them a t-shirt, some swag. Let's get excited about this. So it helps prompt some of those types of things also.
And we were able to get rid of some of those manual processes and multiple systems and then give that end-to-end solution so that they could get their employees what they need.
Gotcha. Okay, Samantha, show us what onboarding is like at Assurant today.
Yeah. Learning a new job, figuring out who's who, how do I fit in, and taking care of all that stuff that goes with new employment, it can be overwhelming and really confusing. And Assurant gets this, so they wanted content, tasks, and getting help to be seamless and easy. And they started by asking, how do we treat employees the way that we treat our customers? I think the results are pretty awesome. And to give you a picture of what it looks like for new hires at Assurant, we've taken the practices that they've already put in place, and we added in some of the latest ServiceNow innovations. So let's take a look. Jessica is a new hire. She's accepted her offer with Assurant, and she gets a welcome email that congratulates her and directs her to the Employee Service Center, which around the halls of Assurant goes by the name Employee Solutions Portal. Now, when she gets there, all the content is tailored for her. Assurant actually uses criteria, things like the job or the location, to make sure that what Jessica sees is only the things that she needs to know or do. And as Kelly mentioned, one of the things they like to tell their employees about in advance is benefits. In the US, a job change usually means a change in healthcare. So giving this information to Jessica ahead of time is an important touch point. Why does this matter? Because frankly, Jessica's going through a lot of change. Information like this is gonna help Jessica get comfort and reassurance. As they get started through the onboarding process, they wanted to eliminate that quiet period from offer to first day. Jessica's first day is getting closer, just 5 days away now, and another piece of content is pushed out to her. The new action available is to watch a video. And this allows Jessica to start becoming engaged with that really special, strong Assurant culture. So Jessica's off to a great start. But you guys said we also need to take care of the hiring manager. Let's see what we can do for them. Jessica's new boss is Maria. And as she starts to get ready for Jessica, she's also going to get an email directing her to the Employee Solutions portal. Before that day, before the rollout of ServiceNow onboarding, this wouldn't have been one message. It would have been lots of messages. And it would have directed her to multiple systems and multiple departments. Now it's just one email taking her right to that Employee Solutions portal. Again, the content is really curated for Maria. It doesn't matter if it's coming from IT or HR. She's getting things like, congratulations, you've been with Assurant for 2 years. And all of the tasks she needs to take care of are in one place too. Again, regardless of if it's an IT task or an HR task. The next thing Maria needs to do is get ready for Jessica by ordering her new hire equipment. She doesn't have to search the catalog. This is really intuitive. She simply goes to her tasks, and the order guide is served up for her. It's pre-configured. It's pre-populated. She's going to know that on day one, Jessica will have a laptop, computer, and phone waiting for her. So, because Assurant took care of all of that equipment, Jessica will be ready on day one, but there's more to it. They want to create a welcoming experience. And they do that by guiding Maria through some of those basics, like scheduling lunch with your team and making sure you give them a new t-shirt. In order to make that happen, an article guides them through those practices, but to make sure they don't forget, they also provide helpful tools like a simple checklist to ensure those tasks get taken care of.
Awesome.
It is.
Making it easy for employees. So we also talked about continuous improvement. You know you wanted to start with onboarding, but how did you know exactly where to start?
Well, that's a great question. So before we even knew we needed ServiceNow, we knew that we could improve our process and our program. And so the first thing we did was assemble a cross-functional team. We had a lead from IT and a lead from HR, and then pulled in others from benefits, brand marketing, facilities, you name it, to come together and really review our holistic process end to end. It allowed us to really identify areas of opportunity that we needed to tackle. And I'll tell you, this cross-functional team, this doesn't happen often, but unanimously, okay, we decided unanimously that the very first thing we had to fix was task delivery. And so we knew that if we couldn't get task delivery right, how could we ever create this awesome, amazing wow experience for our employees?
But we were starting with many decentralized onboarding processes with very little corporate governance. And we weren't quite sure how to tame that. All of our business units are suppliers of something, and you can't put that genie back in the bottle. We wanted processes that had enough flexibility to allow our businesses to do it better without having corporate tell them they must do it this way.
Got it. And so, how did you get to where you are now?
So first of all, just turning on ServiceNow let us see where we needed to improve. Things we never knew were problems, we can now see on dashboards for our fulfillment teams, driving them to action to do process improvement. So we needed processes that we could actually go back and fine tune. And so we took another 6 weeks afterwards to fine tune using that employee feedback.
That's right, and we did spend a few months after deployment holding regular focus groups, weekly focus groups with our new hires and our hiring managers that experience the platform to get real-time feedback and take action on that feedback. And I would say now that things are running very smoothly, we rely on the survey tasks that's delivered via ServiceNow, and we review those scores and those comments routinely.
Got it. So you did focus groups,
Yes.
You got feedback on the process, and then you were able to modify the process.
Absolutely.
And so Samantha, show us what it means to modify the onboarding process at Assurant.
Absolutely. One thing that's tricky about onboarding is there's not really one owner. And realistically, there's not really one process either. You've got IT, HR, finance, facilities, they all have to work as a team for the process to feel seamless. On top of all that, we just heard Assurant tell us that process needs to be flexible and adaptable. So the good news is ServiceNow onboarding is designed for those cross-functional teams to come together to build and maintain the workflows. So that gets easier. Let's take a look. Ian is an IT professional, and part of his job at Assurant is to look after all of those onboarding activities that IT supports. When he first comes into the onboarding admin view, he's seeing the whole process at a glance across the whole business. That's great, but candidly, Ian really only cares about the stuff that he's responsible for. Coming up in our New York release, he's going to be able to very quickly filter and just focus on those things that matter to him. Once he does this, sure enough, he can see that on day one, there's a problem. Imagine he's heard that maybe the new hire is supposed to be able to have their phone ready to support that employee's potential on day one, but even though they're getting the phone, it's not working right away. He can see that's because the mobile plan setup isn't happening until the settling in period. That's after day one. Ian wants to fix this, and he can go right away to make this change right within the tool. Now think about what this would have been like before. Changing a process that affected multiple departments and worked across the company would have taken days or weeks to coordinate. Ian did it in just a few clicks. And you know what's more, he can see right away the result of the change. But being a good IT professional, he's going to test his work. And while our customers have told us that ServiceNow onboarding makes creating and managing the process much easier, we heard feedback that testing was still kind of left some room for improvement. We answered that feedback with a really great, cool new testing functionality in the New York release. What Ian will be able to do now is go ahead, set up an employee persona as the proxy to use for the test, and then he can even decide, do I really need to test the whole process, or maybe I just want to check on the part of the process that I just changed. Now, I showed this to your actual IT process owner at Assurant. You know what he told me? This is awesome. I can't wait to use it.
That's right.
Terrific. Continuous improvement. Okay, new hire readiness. It's day one. Talk to us about new hire readiness now that onboarding is live, and juxtapose that to where you were 12 months ago.
Yeah, so in the past, folks would have to really hunt down various information. Maybe their laptop was missing, or they had questions they just couldn't get answers to.
And so on day one and really the first week, there was a range of people coming into work that needed to do things like take action or read content or just a lot of different things and a lot of different systems. So Monday turned into a bit of a fire drill for the new hire and the manager. And it used to be about a week or so for the computer and the phone and everything to be ready to go. But we've been able to change that and turn it into a remarkably human experience with an empathetic touch that saved us from the potential of a stressful beginning.
Spectacular. So now the new hires have what they need day one to be day one ready. I'm going to pivot us back to Samantha, and Samantha's going to show us what Jessica's first day looks like at Assurant.
Jessica's computer is waiting for her on her desk when she arrives at work. She's able to log in without any issue, doesn't have to call IT first. Her email's working. In her inbox, she's got that invite to have lunch with her manager and several emails welcoming her to the team. When she opens the browser for the first time, it opens to that employee solutions portal, which has been designed to reflect those customer experience principles of remarkably human, delightfully simple, and actually helpful. That's my favorite one. Now, Jessica's going to find that all of the content that's available to her is expanded because she's a full-time employee. Furthermore, Assurant makes sure that those common new hire questions that they're going to ask in their first 30 days, they serve up some of the answers right out of the gate. Like, what's the best place to get coffee? Or how do I set up that new mobile phone Ian makes sure I would have? If she does have any tasks remaining, those are right here as well. She just can take care of those to-dos. And very easily, when she has a question, doesn't matter if it's for IT or HR, she doesn't have to think about it. She can just engage the chat to get help. So because Assurant made sure that Jessica was ready on day one, she's going to have an immediate impact on her team, and Maria's going to be delighted that she's on board.
Great. 12 months. What a change. You all are not finished. You have plans for more. What's next?
That's correct. So we've already transformed the core onboarding experience, and now we have the opportunity to do something truly revolutionary. Our goal is to create an outstanding experience across onboarding and other lifecycle events like promotions and transfers, and we'd like to incorporate things like agent intelligence and natural language support, and we really do see a lot more opportunity with the mobile.
Mobile. Terrific. Okay, Samantha, here it comes.
Here it comes.
Let's see what a native mobile onboarding experience is like for Assurant.
Absolutely. I hope some of you got to see a little sneak peek of this during the opening keynote where Joe shared the awesome new innovation of our mobile onboarding app. We're going to take that app and show it to you as if we're Jessica. Now, just as before, we could send her that email to get her started, but now we're not directing Jessica to the Employee Solutions portal. She's getting sent to download this new hire app. And the mobile onboarding app is going to make all of those new hire to-dos easier, both for Assurant and for Jessica, because it is purpose-built for those pre-hire activities. And it takes advantages of all the functions that are native to Jessica's device. Let's look at an example where maybe in order to get her badge ready or her Active Directory profile, she needs to upload a photo. Well, because we're in a native app, we're able to access the camera directly. Assurant doesn't even need to think about what browser does Jessica use, what operating system is she on. This is designed to work with whatever device she's using. Okay, so they're still going to want to touch base between the offer and the start date. But now, Jessica's not getting extra email. The app just notifies her when she's got new content to take a look at. All of this functionality is familiar to Jessica because it's just like the consumer apps that she's used to using. When she needs to go back into the app and do something, it's going to tell her clearly what's waiting on her. And when everything's been taken care of, she can tell that as well. So, ServiceNow mobile onboarding. It supports Assurant's desire to have employees be able to unlock their productivity from day one, and I think it does an excellent job of supporting remarkably human, delightfully simple, and actually helpful.
Spectacular.
Awesome.
Thank you, Samantha. So, native mobile onboarding. CJ and Joe Davis talked about this yesterday on the keynote, available in our New York release. Thank you, Samantha.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kelly. Thank you, Brad. Terrific story.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Brad. Thanks, Samantha. Okay, let's wrap this up. Number one, it takes a village to do a keynote. So thank you for all of our guest speakers. Thank you, Chris and Pat. Thank you, Erica and Sean. Thank you, Kelly and Brad. And thank you, Lucinda and Samantha, for really showing us the technologies. Carter Wilson, Wilson Carter. Remember that? Seems like about 5 years ago, right? Expectations have changed. We're not going back to that. We talked a lot about onboarding. Onboarding being a material moment that matters. It's important. It's important to the new hire. It's important to the company. It's their first impression with that new employee. It's complex. And also, it's about productivity. We talked about who cares, right? The management team, they care, because employee experience is about talent. It's about recruiting and retaining talent. And over time, I would assert that employee experience will either be a competitive advantage or disadvantage for companies. Companies that are delivering a poor employee experience will have a difficult time recruiting and retaining. Now you have tools. You know, align, design, unify. It's hard work. Aligning. If you get stuck, think about Pat and Chris. Think about their shared journey, but they're different people. With design, a lot of heavy lifting, getting processes designed for an employee first. If you get stuck, think about the transformation that Eric and Sean are driving at HSBC. And finally, unify, right? We need technology to cut across the corporate functions, cut across the back office. It's the ServiceNow platform. It's our bread and butter. Think about the work that Brad and Kelly have done in only 12 months at Assurant. What's the next step? My recommendation, IT professionals, you care about experience. You should reach out to your HR counterpart. Say, I'm from IT. I care about delivering employee experience. Let's work on a moment that matters together. Let's deliver experience. HR professionals, don't wait, be proactive. You can reach out to IT as well. Pick a moment. What moment? There are a lot of moments that matter. don't overthink it. Onboarding, pick onboarding. It's a material moment that matters. It delivers productivity. It's complex. It's important to the company. Finally, all of you work at companies. Companies have employees. Employees are on a journey, and along that journey, they hit moments that matter. You understand, align, design, and unify. I would ask you to think about the experience you want for your employees as they interact with those moments that matter. Thank you.